By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Do you know what it means? Given those two choices, yes. In the best of all possible worlds, they would just leave us in peace. But they won't. I don't enjoy killing, but when done righteously, it's just a chore, like any other. Practiced hands make for short work, and the good Lord knows there's much to be done here. Happy are those who do the work of the Lord. Zion belongs to God and the people of God. It is a natural temple and monument to his glory. When our Lord entered the temple and found it polluted by money changers and beasts, did he ask them to leave? Did he cry? Did he simply walk away? No. He drove them out. It is one thing to forgive a slap across my cheek, but an insult to the Lord requires... No, it demands correction. I and the dead horses are prepared to do what must be done to protect Zion from the Whitelegs. And though Daniel won't accept it yet, there are many sorrows who are also prepared. They may not be warriors, but this is their home. If you have a chance to speak with Daniel about this, ask him to consider defending Zion instead of abandoning it. He has good intentions, but I fear that if we evacuate the sorrows from this place, it will be lost to them, and us, forever.
This one is mine.
You can come.
Zion used to be a place of peace, you know. Daniel says that it is holy in the eyes of the Father. I hope someday you will see it as it was. I am always a little sad to leave the Narrows, and happy to return. Zion used to be a place of peace, you know. Daniel says that it is holy in the eyes of the Father. I hope someday you will see it as it was.
All night. Yeah, we witch. True.
Is it normal to hurt all over after a battle? Those tents down there, that is a White Leg war camp. Do you see the war totems they've erected around the tents? White Leg warriors pray to them for strength and savagery before battle. This is no raiding band. You might rush them and take them by surprise. We would be badly outnumbered then, though, and these will be strong fighters. We might also use their superstition against them. White Leg warriors believe that to lose their totems on the eve of battle is a terrible omen. Yes, if their war totems were to disappear, they would likely lose the will to fight. I will follow your command, but I advise caution if it is possible. You leave me no choice.
Are you?
This one is mine.
Devil!
Let's move on. I don't like to linger in this place. It is good to travel with another. I spend so long scouting on my own that I forget what human company is like. protect us. Your humble children as we labor in the vineyards, and make us strong to resist those who would steal Zion from us. We should not be here. This place, it belongs to the Father in the caves. We must not profane it with our touch. The Father in the caves, the Holy Father who gave the Sorrows his succor and gave the new Canaanites his son. Many of the caves around the valley are sacred to him, and those who would trespass are punished by holy wrath. You speak as one who has not heard the tales, who has not seen the sacred images. If you knew, you would not mock. If something of mine will help you, take it. I hope you would do the same for me. Business. I am glad it's over. White leg attacks grow more frequent each day. I fear for our people, and for our valley if something is not done.
I'm glad to see you're still with us. How can I help you? I appreciate it. Well, that's it. This is all we need. Now all that's left is to quietly pack up and try to get out of here without being noticed. That's assuming that Joshua won't try to stop me. And that he hasn't talked you into fighting the Whitelegs despite what I've said. Don't worry, I don't hold it against you. You're an outsider. Fighting seems like the practical solution. I'll tell you again. There's more at stake. It may be. I hope it is. To tell the truth, if something goes wrong, more Sorrows could die in the escape than in Joshua's proposed attack. Even knowing that, it's a risk I have to take. With your help and Joshua's, even if we're attacked, we can defend the Sorrows and escape. We'll be traveling at night in small groups across the valley. With luck, the Whitelegs won't know what's happened until the next morning. But if the Whitelegs realize what's happening, Joshua and I will need you to help us escape. Don't hold back. I promise you. The Whitelegs won't. Once our path is clear, I'll give you everything you need to get back to the Mojave. But the Pine Creek Tunnel must be collapsed behind us. It's the only way to delay the Whitelegs' pursuit long enough for us to get a head start. Good luck, and may God be with us.
Daniel must have made it to the tunnel by now. But there are Sorrows all over the valley. We have to help them and get Daniel out of here. Right. The time for talk is past. The Lord's work must be done. Die where you stand!
Please, have you done everything you can for the Sorrows? Are they all accounted for? You let them die! They needed you! Why didn't you help them? Never mind, I don't have time for this. Take the map. Just take it and go.
And so it was that the conflict between the New Canaanites and the Whitelegs was finally resolved. The courier's involvement had tipped the scale, shifting the fragile balance of power.
After the Whitelegs drove the Sorrows from Zion, they celebrated by destroying all traces of the valley's former inhabitants. They appealed to the Legion for assimilation, but were denied. Their failure to eradicate the New Canaanites in Grand Staircase and farther up the Colorado had not gone unnoticed. The Whitelegs made a half-hearted effort to find the New Canaanites, but were driven off by dead horses trained in the ways of Joshua Graham. The Whitelegs lost all hope of joining the Legion and disintegrated into a number of petty raiding bands, leaving Zion Valley a polluted cistern.
Daniel evacuated the Sorrows from Zion, but due to the courier's neglect, the Whitelegs butchered many along the way. Those who survived barely reached Grand Staircase, but once there, the dead horses and New Canaanites helped them settle. The unfamiliarity of their new surroundings and the loss of loved ones evoked a terrible and lasting grief among the Sorrows. For 2 generations, many would die still lamenting the loss of Zion.
Having helped Daniel and the Sorrows escape from Zion, the dead horses returned to their home at Dead Horse Point. The tribe continued to learn from the New Canaanites, and over many years built a flourishing community along the banks of the Colorado. Though the tribe's bond would endure, it was Joshua Graham's legend the dead horses would revere, not the tenets of New Canaan's faith.
Already weakened by several seasons of bad trading, the Happy Trails Caravan Company was initially discouraged by the results of its expedition, the fate of New Canaan, and the evacuation of the Sorrows from Zion made the prospect of trading seem fruitless. When Daniel told his family about the exploits of Happy Trails employee the courier, however, New Canaan decided to repay the company's kindness. Twice per year, New Canaanites made the dangerous journey west to trade with a company in the city of New Reno. The Happy Trails Caravan Company could not survive on such trading alone, but the New Canaanites' generosity made tough times go easier.
After leading the Sorrows from their home in Zion to safety in Grand Staircase, Daniel continued to wonder if he'd made the right choice. He spent his life evangelizing the beliefs of his people to a new generation of young men and women, as his ancestors had for centuries before him. He was happy with his family. But for the rest of his life, there were nights when he awoke with sadness to find he had been dreaming of Zion.
And with that, the courier walked out of the history of the tribes of Zion and back to the gathering storm of the Mojave Wasteland.